Blue chip NFTs are often a phrase we hear in relation to OpenSea when we think of the Bored Ape Yacht Club or Beeple. But what about Veve? What are the blue chip NFTs in Veve that you should be collecting right now? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about. What's going on, everyone? My name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and watch this video on the channel. Just before we get started, if you are enjoying the content, please do subscribe as it helps me out a ton and it also allows you to keep up to date of all the new videos that are coming out weekly. Right, the blue chip NFTs of Veve. What are they and what should we be paying attention to, especially if we're here for 5+ years? Because it's important to play the long game here and important to understand what we should be investing in and why. Like many of us, we would have loved to have been a part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club when it originally started, and right now we have the chance to do that with some of the biggest collectibles in the world when it comes to Marvel, Disney, DC, and so much more. I was going to make all of the blue chips in the one video, but I think that video would be far too long because of the information that I want to give in relation to why I'm telling this is a blue chip NFT and why you should be paying attention to it. So if you do want a part 2 of this in the blue chip NFTs on Veve, be sure to leave a like on the video as it would mean the world to me and it would show me that you're enjoying this type of content. The first one we're going to mention is quite an obvious one, but Todd McFarlane's Batman. Todd McFarlane is a Canadian artist who's done works with Nickelodeon, Disney, DC, has also worked on Spider-Man, as well as a whole other bunch of superhero characters within the world that we are living in. Todd is well known within the artist industry, and not only that, the Todd McFarlane Batman was the first ever NFT that was put on Veve itself. It's a part of the season 1 of Batman Black and White series, alongside 3 other Batman variations, but Todd McFarlane was the first that Veve had ever had. If we look back in comparison to some of the other things where we look at the first Pokemon cards, the first comic books in the world, the first collectibles, they all hold significant value because they are first. And with Todd McFarlane only having 7,500 editions on Veve itself, and you look at something in the future with potentially having upwards of 1 million active users on the Veve app, 7,500 does not seem that high of a number. We've also got to think that Todd McFarlane was the first, meaning a lot of people who are in from the beginning would have more than one, and that decreases the amount of individual owners who can actually own Todd McFarlane's themselves, which again can increase the price of Todd if these people hold for the long run. Batman, over the period of time that the movies have been created, has brought in around 4.4 billion in revenue, an extra 500 million every year on retail sales alone. It is still thriving today, and a lot of the movies continue to be some of the most popular in the world and have brought massive amounts of fans to the industry. Batman to this day continues to thrive with all of its movies, comic books, characters, and video games, and I reckon will continue to thrive for years on end after. Batman is popular for a multitude of reasons, but one being that he is human after all, and the reason that he is a superhero is because of the money that he has. It also plays into the fear aspect where he turns his fear into a strength, and I think a lot of people actually relate to that in the sense that they're able to use their fears to bring an advantage to their life and actually turn that around to make something of themselves. People often attribute their best successes to overcoming their fears, and I think that's what makes Batman just something that a lot of people can relate to. If you're looking to make some history with yourself and get in on something that will become absolutely massive in the long run, then Todd McFarlane is your best bet with the first ever Veve digital collectible. Todd McFarlane right now on the app is around about 2.4k gems. My guess for the end of next year with Todd McFarlane is around 10k gems. For someone who's going to pick up now and hold for the long run, could be a great starting point for where you're at. Next up is Superman. And with 8,888 editions that were released on the one individual NFT set for Superman, this is the only Superman that we have had so far in regards to Veve. This is the first ever appearance we had of Superman, the first ever collectible that had one in its set, so this was an incredible one to get from the beginning. There was a study conducted by OnePoll in America that found that Superman was actually the most popular superhero in America itself, with Spider-Man being second and Batman being third. The majority of the users right now will be from America, and if we look at that in an instance, most of them will attribute their childhood to the likes of these 3 characters, but Superman coming out on top with only 8,888 editions and the only appearance that we've had so far of Superman, this is one to keep and hold for the long term. The movies itself that Superman has been a part of since 1978 has made around 2 billion in box office sales. And not only that, has had multiple comics as well as collectibles released from him. I'm actually surprised we've not really seen a mainstream version of a Superman game, but I guess it's going to be a little bit different because he's not really from Earth, so playing Batman or Spider-Man is a little bit different as they have a more unique aspect and aren't really invincible feasible in that sense, but I think it still could be cool to have a game that would include Superman in his own concept. With Superman being one of the most popular in America, it's no wonder that this is going to be a blue chip for the future, and something that I do recommend getting into. Superman right now is currently about 1.3k gems on the market, and I see the end of next year him reaching upwards of 5,000 to 6,000 gems if you're willing to pay that price right now. If they continue to make Superman as scarce as he is and don't consistently release new ones, as we have seen 5 seasons of Batman Black and White alone, then we could potentially have an amazing collectible in terms of Superman being very scarce with the collectibles that we get from him and having that original one within your collection. The final one that we're going to cover today is the Secret Rare Spider-Man, or any of the first appearing Spider-Man collection. This doesn't have to be the Secret Rare, but I'm going to talk about the Secret Rare as the majority one that is going to be the blue chip out of them all. The Ultra Rare could also be a part of this, and something that I wouldn't put out of the question, but compared to the Secret Rare, it's got more additions and it's a different type of animation without any sound. So there's a comparison. I would still say the Secret Rare is always going to win. If you can't afford the Secret Rare, the Ultra Rare is still a good one to go for. Now, Spider-Man was created by Stan Lee himself and is actually voted the top character that Stan Lee created, with 22% of Americans saying this to be the case. In the box office alone, since the Spider-Man movies started, it's reached over $2 billion in gross sales from its movies. Spider-Man has appeared in many games throughout the years, over all different types of consoles, and continues to thrive today, with the newest being the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, which I've heard is incredible. It's also had a record sale of 262,000 for the Amazing Spider-Man's first ever comic book, as well as many other sources of revenue that Spider-Man is able to get. A study done by Game found that in the world, 57% of countries found Spider-Man to be their favourite superhero, and it just goes to show how popular a character this is and all of the things that are going to be moving forward with it in the long term. Spider-Man's movie rights were made an agreement with Disney recently to help with them moving forward with that. However, Sony do still own an aspect of Spider-Man, but having 2 of these massive companies being a part of Spider-Man itself, it's no wonder that it still remains so popular today. And with Stan Lee sadly passing away in the past few years, I'm sure a lot of people are reminiscing over their favourite superhero, which is Spider-Man to them. Stan Lee said himself that Spider-Man was made to make mistakes, and it made us all feel a little bit more connected to him as an individual and as a person, as we all manage to make mistakes but are able to turn it around and become the person that we are meant to become. I think that speaks to a lot of us when it comes to the mistakes we make, as we are human and we're not superheroes. But as Peter Parker or Spider-Man manages to make these mistakes, he also manages to come back from it and make himself a better individual, which I think a lot of us can relate to, and is something that Stan Lee always wanted to create. Spider-Man's Secret Rare has 1,000 editions made and sitting around 15,000 gems at the moment, but I see that rising pretty quickly, reaching upwards of 40 or 50k by the end of next year. If that is something you have the gems for right now, as I know that is quite a lot of money, then I would still recommend picking it up. But who knows, it could go anywhere from this point. Those are the 3 I'm going to cover today, and I wanted to stick to individual collectibles rather than moving to different sorts of things, but I do have other blue chips that I like to talk about and give you an understanding as to why they are potentially blue chips on Veve. But what do you think? Do you think I've made some mistakes here, or some of these aren't blue chips? What blue chips would you add to Veve? Ones you would like to see me cover in future videos? Be sure to let me know down in the comments. I know the video on the screen right now will be something you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic day.